When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming and I'm loud. Roar!
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything!
Blog Talk Radio.
You know what time it is? Time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Season 5 still going strong, people. Make sure you do go check out the website, www.thebigscoopwithcoop.com, where you can actually catch some of the latest episodes from Season 1 all the way up to Season 5. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MCOOP317. Make sure you go tell your family, friends, associates, haters. Tell them all to tune in right now to blogtalkradio.com/The Big Scoop with Coop, because you do not want to miss today's guest. Oh, man. If you watch Chelsea lately, you know who this person is. If you actually enjoy stand-up comedians, comics, anything in that area, you'll know who this person is. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and the only Mr. John Caparulo. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? I appreciate that intro. I don't know if I can live up to it, but I appreciate it.
Hey, you live up to every moment of it. I've seen your work, and you are good. You're really good at what you do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, yes, sir. And I just want to say thank you for taking your time, for coming out on the show. I know you're a busy man, and it's an honor to have you on the show. Very honored.
Oh, I'm honored. I really appreciate it. I'm honored anytime anybody wants to actually share their airtime with me. So it's very cool. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I do apologize. I'm getting some backup interference going on the show right now. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
That's probably my fault. Sorry.
First time this
Probably
happened.
my fault.
But yes, sir. I just want to say once again, thank you. On this show, we do speak about how you started in your career, your success, give advice on how to get into your career, and much more.
Yeah.
So, First and foremost, I do want to say it is a pleasure, and I'm not going to hold you long, but when did you first realize that you wanted to become a comedian?
Well, I've been asked that question, obviously, a lot of times, over the course of my career, and it was kind of hard to figure out, like, exactly what the answer would be. And the truth is I was in 6th grade, and I had I was at basketball practice for like my little. They were called the Little Potters team because that's a long story, but we were at basketball practice, and I had an accident. In my pants, and I don't know how graphic I can get on your show, so I'm just dancing around it. But I had one of those moments, and I had that in front of 15 of my closest friends, and it was one of those potentially soul-crushing moments for a kid. And what it ended up being was the first story that I used, like, that I would tell and make it funny, and then my friends would be like, hey, tell that story again about, basketball practice, and I'm like, and then I would do it over, and I would make, more punchlines and do it, better each time, and it was like, it was the first time I got bit by the bug where it was like, I'm glad I pooped my pants, because, it really is it really did change my life because, I took what was potentially a soul-crushing moment and had people laugh with me about it instead, and it's so infectious. I mean, the way, really, for me, comedy's better than sex because I'm kind of good at it.
Yep.
So.
Oh, wow. Wow, I like that. I definitely like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to say after that except if you're good at what you do, continue to do what you do. That's the best way.
It's the truth. Yeah, comedy I think is all about we have to be as honest as we can be. We have to point out the elephant in the room. We have to be able to make fun of ourselves. So it's something that is really has always been fun for me to be able to laugh at my sort of condition in life, I guess, at all stages. So it's fantastic. It really is.
So at any point in time, did you ever say to yourself, okay, guys, I'm tired of telling this story. Everybody know that what I did in my pants. Yeah. Well, I think there was a point when not really so much then. It was my friends were always disappointed that I didn't actually make it an actual bit when I became a professional comedian. Like they're like, you're gonna tell the poop your pants story, right? And I'm like, well, no, because they don't know all the people that were there. Like it wasn't exactly like it's not a story that you kind of had to know all the people there and everything. And it was like there's a lot of inside jokes that went along with it. So it was like they were always let down that that I didn't tell that story on stage, but it was just for us. But it was still fun to tell. I'll still tell it to them now. I don't care. It was fun. I think this is more of like that. That knock joke that will never get old. If you ever find one, that's exactly what this is like. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Now, John, after you pooped in your pants and you told the story 3,000 times to each person in the school and your next door neighbors and your third cousins and everybody else, and you became, you stuck with it, and I want to say thank you. You really stuck with this thing and you continued on. You've done big things, Chelsea, lately. We're going to talk about that later on also.
Yeah.
But on your career path coming up as a successful comedian, what obstacles did you have to overcome to become a successful comedian?
Anybody, at least when I started and before that, I think with comedy, now I think it's the same way now. With comedy, it's, you have to really love the game, so to speak, because it's not going to love you back very much for a long time. It's a very, it tests your resolve and your mettle to like really go, do you really want to do this? Because if you really want to do this, you're not going to get paid for a long time. You're going to get, you're going to have to grovel for stage time. You're going to have to, really, you're going to have to really, really chase this, dream before it starts paying off. Like I was a doorman at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles for 2 years when I first got to LA, and I remember I used to get like, every now and then I get some stage time, like if they had somebody not show up or whatever, like I get a fallout or something like that, and I remember there's 3 rooms at the Comedy Store, and there's the smallest one is upstairs, and it's called the Belly Room, and there was a show going on that night, and I remember I had to check the IDs for all the people going into that show, because they would all go in the back door, and the lady running the show that night comes down after about an hour, and she's like, hey, I got this really big crowd up there tonight, and I got nobody to go up. Do you want to do maybe 10 or 15 minutes? I'm like, And I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, of course. So I changed my shirt and I ran up there and I did one of the best sets I'd ever had, up to that point, in front of that crowd. And I come off stage and I'm floating. It's like a Friday night, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a star by Monday. And I got downstairs and the night manager's like, yeah, Cap, if you're done messing around, the ladies' room toilet backed up and it's flooding into the hallway. So here's a mop, and I'm out and I'm mopping the hallway as people are leaving the show that I just lit up, like that I just had a great set. Girls are walking by going, hey, you were really funny. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Don't step in that. Like it's but it's like you have to really check your ego is really what it's about, and for forever. It really doesn't end with comedy. It's like you have to make sure you maintain your humility throughout your career, because it's still that's a place where you have to come from, is a place of humility. So it really is. It's a big deal.
Now, John, have you realized this? I'm listening to you talk. Have you realized this? You started out with Coop, and when you first got your shot, you ended up going right back to Poop again, except it wasn't yours.
I know. Hey, the thing is I end up telling a lot of. Inevitably, my set is going to include a lot of brown. It just is. There's a lot of Poop in my set, but it's if the crowd's really with me and they love it, it doesn't matter. It's like it's great. If there's some nights when you can feel like the crowd is just like the larger half of the room or something is sort of put off by that kind of humor, then I can sort of I start counting those jokes in my head. Like I start going, oh no, there's another. Oh, you just said fart again. Come on, So it's like one of those things where it doesn't matter when they're rolling with you, but it's but yeah, I always end up back in the Poop. So yeah.
Nice. I'm not sure how that's nice, but believe it or not, at the end, it comes back to being nice because, you had your shot and you got up there and it wasn't planned for you to get on stage. And you went up there and you rocked it.
Right.
And that's the thing.
Right.
And that's how you know that you're a successful comic or comedian, because you don't have to take weeks to prepare. They told you, hey, get up there. And you blew the roof off, and they should have told you hey, do the thing.
Yeah, and people ask me if I still get nervous now, like before I go on stage, and I'm like, of course I do. I think you're crazy if you don't. Like if you're going to go up in front of a few hundred strangers and talk about some of your most intimate details of your life. If you're not a little bit nervous about that, you're nuts. So there's still an adrenaline rush. It's not but I was really, that was at a time back when I was a doorman. It was scary, but I still, I proved to myself that I could, I could come through, at a minute's notice. Like, let's go, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, John, do you feel that if you didn't take that step that day, if you'd have been like, nah, I'm going to stay here, I know my role, I'm going to stay as, at the door, do you think you'll be where you're at today?
No. Well, that night in particular, I wouldn't have had a great story. But, I was already sort of, I had moved to L.A. and I was sort of in the mix, but it really was. There are certain nights, there are certain moments, good and bad, in your career that you kind of, that are really landmarks, that are really like, I'm because you're, now that you asked me that, it was really important, because there's just those moments in a comedy career or any career, I think that, maybe you really don't want to do something. You're like, I don't feel like it's my night, or you don't feel like, I just don't want to. And then you go and do it, and it's like, wow, I'm so glad I went up there, because I really grew from that experience, whether good or bad. And I did. I grew a lot from that experience. It was humbling, and it was exciting first, and it was really, really helped my confidence. But then it brought me back down to earth at the same time. So yeah, it was good. It was definitely good.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, John. Because like I said before, you've done big things. You're doing big things, because your career is not over. It's nowhere close.
No.
You're doing big things. And actually, while you're still coming up, and you had that shot right there, LA. That's always a big crowd to actually do what you're doing. Do you feel that you had any true mentors that actually help you out on the way up to where you're at right now?
Well, I don't know if I had any, direct mentors. I mean, I look to, as a comic, you sort of look to people, whether it's other comics or anybody else, to like sort of inspire or influence you, in some way. I mean, I grew up, I got like, into stand-up very early on. Like, I remember my dad let me listen to Richard Pryor way before I should have, but I was listening to Pryor albums when I was like 4. And, I couldn't really understand it other than the cuss words. And that was, it was still, I gravitated to it at a very early age, where I started to like listen to like, I really loved Eddie Murphy and Sam Kinison, and, later on, guys like Chris Rock. And it's like, I mean, I listen to guys like that. I see them. I see, Carlin, is another one. Like, it's just like, you look at these guys and you see how they sort of put their stuff together and the way they work. And, I used to watch that at the Comedy Store, being a doorman. That's kind of why, Mitzi, who's the owner of the Comedy Store, she's, that was sort of her plan for a doorman, is sort of, you're there every night, and you're absorbing all this stuff. So I watched a lot of, some of the guys I looked up to really master their craft, and but I got influences outside of comedy too. I was a huge Michael Jordan fan. I would say, like, I just loved the way that guy had a chip on his shoulder every time he played. Like, he really still felt like I mean, no matter how great he got, no matter how big everybody, everybody thought he was the greatest player ever in the middle of his career, and he's still like, nah, but I got cut in the 10th grade, and I'm still mad about it. And it's like, I loved that. I loved a guy who could just take and be that petty and just be that, just be that determined, and I loved it. And that's kind of the way I've looked at what I do in life and everything else. It's just like, man, I may not look so good for me at first, but yeah, I overcame, and I'm overcoming. So yeah.
Very nice. On Facebook, we're live on Facebook also, John. And Audrey Ratliff, she said so true. Experience really helped you grow. And I think she's actually referring back to when you jumped on stage and you did your thing at the comedy store, and you blew up. So big shout out to you, Audrey, for that. And that is true. John, he got his experience. He was ready. He did jump on this thing, and he ran with it. Everyone, once again, listening worldwide right now, you can actually watch me live right now on Facebook.com/The Big Scoop with Coop. Tell your family, friends, and everyone to tune in right now. We do have a famous comedian on the line right now, John Caparulo. So tell everyone to tune in. blogtalkradio.com/The Big Scoop with Coop. What's going on, Brittany? So I just want to say thank you. Your fans are listening, John. People are listening, and we're loving everything that you're doing right now. Now, John, also,
I appreciate that.
Oh, yes, sir. do you feel that comedy has changed for the better or the worse from the 80s and 90s up to right now?
I think I think it's gotten, both. I think everything is like that, though. I think there's some things that it's gotten better in the sense of like I remember when the internet sort of started to really blow up and sort of take over, as far as media and entertainment and social media and all that stuff started to become really, really prevalent. I was afraid of it because I didn't really, I didn't start with that stuff being available, and it was like I really didn't know how or anybody was going to adapt to it or we were going to stand-ups. It's like how are we going to be able to do what we do, with this new medium? It might, I don't know. It was a scary outlook. But then as it went over time, and I started to use the internet myself for entertainment. And I'm on YouTube and stuff all the time. It really is it's like there are so many ways now that you as a comedian can get your stuff out there. Like you can actually get it to the masses without having to go through, gatekeepers and things like that, who own television networks or radio stations or anything like that. Like you can just get you can get your comedy and your material out there, yourself if you want to. So that's beautiful. But I think the political correctness movement has made comedy very, it's watering us down a lot and it's making things difficult. Like, when I say, I think a comic's job is to point out the elephant in the room. It is. And I really think that, when they're starting to, clamp down on comics who might have said this, that, or the other, on stage, I just feel like stand-up comedy is the last bastion of free speech. Like it's supposed to be, really, we're supposed to be able to be honest. We have to be. Now you have to be funny at the same time, or you're just offensive, which is terrible. Like Kramer on Seinfeld. That that's just awful. But it's like you have to put some jokes in there, or you're just going to sound terrible. But if you can actually, make, the truth funny, then you should be able to do that without people getting too just up in arms over, we should be able to talk politics or religion or race or whatever, let's talk about it. So, and laugh about it, and we grow from it, and it's starting to become harder and harder to do that anymore. But, at the same time, like I said, there are so many venues and ways you can get your speech or whatever out there. So it's cool in that sense, but it's just, it's tough in another. So, everything always, has some way to suck, I guess.
There is a positive and negative as far as it goes for, using the internet to get your material out there. You're right. You don't have to go through the gatekeepers anymore. You have so many social network sites that you can use to get your stuff out there, from YouTube to Vine, Vimeo, Facebook, Twitter, IG. It's all out there. And, one comedian that comes out besides you, John, that does that a lot, and that would be Kevin Hart. He uses social media, excuse me, like his best friend. So he actually brings you into his house. He brings you everywhere, and he's still doing his material and promoting it at the same time. So that is true.
Yeah, he's a brilliant comic, and he's like, over the past decade or so, he's really been able to, find the best way to sort of get that popularize what he's done and make more people aware of it. I mean, I remember when MySpace was popular, it was Dane Cook. They always talked about how he had mastered sort of that social media movement, and you know, he was on it all the time, and it was like, you know, that it's like, it's, you know, you really do have a lot of options and choices out there that you can use to get your comedy out there. I mean, when I first started, I remember I had a few TV deals back in the like 10 years ago, and like they set me up with meetings with writers, comedy writers, and you know, these guys, almost all of them were guys who initially came to Los Angeles to be comedians, stand-up comedians, but they didn't maybe have the charisma or the delivery or whatever. But they could still write funny stuff. And so when you have like stuff like Twitter and things like that, guys like that can now circumvent, you know, maybe going on stage and just, you know, okay, look, here, I have funny stuff to say, so I'll put it out to the masses like this. So it really does give you a whole lot of options.
That's true. Now, John, with a lot of your fans that's listening worldwide right now, and people that know you, they know you about this. So I have to ask you about it. How excited were you when you found out that you were chosen to be on Chelsea Lately?
You know what, that show was, I mean, I thought it was really cool because Chelsea's one of those people that, you know, I mean, it's like, it's kind of like in high school, like when the cool kid likes you, you just feel like more important.
Right.
And she's always been really cool. So it's like, you know, I was always really, you know, even before her show came out, like the fact that she acknowledged me and knew me and respected what I did, because I thought that was, you know, that was awesome, because, you know, I thought she was really funny and talented and all that stuff. So it was like, you know, I love when, you know, game recognizes game. That's awesome. But when her show first started, it was just kind of like, you know, I wasn't even sure if anybody was really watching the show, because I'm like, you know, it's just this 11 o'clock or whatever show on E, and, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the, you know, really how big it is, and, you know, because I don't go, you know, I stopped Googling my name like a long time ago because I don't want to, I'm afraid to see what there is. But I just didn't know how popular it was. And then about 2009 is when it really, really picked up. And like the crowds coming to my shows, like when I went, you know, I started going on the road more because the crowds for my shows just, they like doubled basically, because it was, you know, I mean, like girls knew who I was. So it was like, it was really, really, it was fantastic for that. So then it became, you know, her show went from this sort of like little, it was almost like our little secret, like me and the other few comics who got on there. And, you know, like it was our cool little thing that we were doing, but then it became like this really big phenomenon. And then, you know, the traffic started picking up, so there was a lot more people trying to get on that show. But at the same time, you know, throughout the entire run of the show, they kept asking me back at least every other week. I was on, I think it was like 150 episodes. So, I mean, it was great. That show, I loved everything about doing that show. I mean, the topics were, I mean, I don't really care about celebrities, but right. I usually just tried to make fun of the situation. And but it was so fun to be able to, you know, test your skills as a comedian, you know, to, you know, it was just really awesome. I loved doing that show. You know, I miss it. I understand why she got tired of it, but you know, I of course I miss it. It was a great feeling. Of
course. You know, I think I found out about that show probably in 2009, mid-09, getting on 2010. And, you know, I was watching, and I saw how this show was progressing up. So it was doing good things. It really was. Ratings was getting there. But I mean, I still don't understand why it stopped. But I mean, do you feel that it could actually start back up again? Do you feel like Chelsea could do it again, or do you think that she's totally through?
Well, I think it's possible. I don't I'm not really tight with Chelsea in that way, like where I mean, which it's like she like it's funny because I mean, she and I like are real cool because I keep my distance. You know what I mean? Like it's like I just don't. So I'm not close enough to her to know what she thinks about day to day, but I think that I know from what I saw and from what I heard around there that she was just getting really burned out on doing the show. I mean, it's every day, she was on every day, whereas I was on, every other week, or I was on every week for a while. But like, it was just, I can see how you would get burned out even from that. Now, me personally, I think when you get to her position, I stopped working just altogether because I'm like, I mean, what else do you need to prove? You own a plane, you're fine, all right. But the fact that she keeps going with anything is impressive, and so and I admire that. And I mean, I joke about it myself about if I was in her shoes, I'd be out, but I probably wouldn't either. I mean, because it's in your bones. But I don't know. I mean, anything's possible because that show was so great and it was so beloved, and I can tell the fans really miss it. But I know she's doing her other thing. I know she's trying to evolve to the next stage because I even understand that from my position. I was like, all right, I love doing her show, but I really want to evolve to doing my show, so it's like, I could see anything's possible, but, I think, as long as she's doing something else that makes her happy, I doubt, she would, backtrack, but, that show was so big, it's possible. It's always possible.
That's true. Big shout out to you, John. Big shout out to Chelsea Lately if you're listening right now. I missed the show, but I definitely understand, the burnout is serious. You don't want to burn yourself out and drive yourself mentally crazy. So, and like John said, you got a plane. I mean, geez, you proved yourself already. I wish I had me a plane, but
you don't say anything.
Seriously, yes. Now, John, are there any other projects that you're working on right now that you would like to talk about?
I've been doing caplets online. That's I do. I think we just recorded the 34th episode, 33 or 34. I've been doing every 30 days. I do a new 5 to 7 minutes of stand up and put it online. It goes on my site, on YouTube. It was on Hulu for a while. I don't know if it is still. I think it's on Amazon now. But I just thought, that's a project that's like, I'm really proud of now because it's like I have really, I have a enormous body of work. Really, I mean, it's almost 3 years worth of, caplets. So that's really cool, and we're still doing that. And my wife and I always do a recap at the end now with our daughter sitting in the middle. She's 18 months old, but we do that, and then I'm also trying to get my own animated project off the ground. That we just recorded the sound for the demo yesterday, and we should at least have our rough cut done by probably in a month, and then I've been trying to. It's called Cartoon Comic, and it's about me and my wife and our dogs and our and now our baby in our life, in a cartoon. So it's it's really, yeah, that's really where my all my creative energy goes to is the the animated project, Caplets, and I try to be a decent father. So.
Hey, there you go, John. Make sure you give my love to your wife. Tell I said hello, and
Absolutely.
big things also. Please do. Yes. Excuse me. Now, John, how can your fans and the people that's getting introduced to you for the first time, how can they find you on social media?
You can, if you can spell John Caparulo, you're good. You should have it on, I guess, on your Facebook page or whatever. But it's at John Caparulo, whatever. John Caparulo on Facebook. My wife runs all of it. I'm like, hey, look, I didn't get into comedy to type. So I think she handles a lot of like questions people have about where I'm going to be and stuff like that. But, as far as, social media, yeah, you just look, if you got my name spelled right, you're good. You can find me. And then if, my online presence, my contribution to the online space at this point is, the Caplets I do every month, and and we were doing a podcast. Our podcast, my wife and I were doing a podcast called Domestic Disputes. It's been on hold for a bit because with the baby, it's like we recorded at home, and there's never like a good time to record. But we still do have a lot of episodes on iTunes and everything like that, and and my cartoon comic will be out soon. Trust me. But that's it. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening worldwide right now, make sure you be on the lookout for Cartoon Comic. Check him out on YouTube. Find the podcast. Just because he stopped right now, he has a legitimate reason. 18-month-old baby, whoever has a baby, it's cool. I know. So make sure.
Yeah, we're on hold. Yeah.
Hey, but that's okay. We still can find past episodes. Make sure you go up there, follow him on social media to keep up with the latest and greatest. Also, even though his wife is running it, ask the questions. I guarantee we'll get back to John. Your questions will be answered. So make sure you follow him on social media. Check out the past episodes of Chelsea Lately also. Make sure you do all of that. Now, John, what is your ultimate goal as
Say again?
Yes, what is your ultimate goal as a comedian?
Ultimately, I just, I really, from the time I started, I just wanted to be genuinely good at it. And I really wanted to, I guess I just want to be recognized in the end of all of it, just as somebody who was when you talk about athletes, like that guy could play, that guy could play. Like he was he didn't waste our time. And ultimately, just career-wise right now, I really want to, I feel like everything I've done has led up to this animated project that I'm doing, because it's, it really is a cartoon picture of my life, and that's kind of how I think about comedy, is sort of in a cartoon way, with a lot of exaggeration and a lot of just craziness, and and cuss words and poop, but still, it's me, and I want to be able to, just leave a lasting legacy of that guy did it the right way. And that guy, because I've always done everything throughout my career, the way I felt like I should when I was a young kid, which is, just do it the right way, and that's all I want to. That's all I want to be known for. It's just an honestly good comedian who was worth watching.
Nice. Now, John, I know you're a busy guy, so I'm not going to hold you up much longer, but what advice would you give any male or female that wants to become a stand-up comedian or actually get into the television industry or the movie industry as far as goes for being a comedian?
Well, as far as being a comedian goes, you know, I always say, like, it always sounds kind of trite at first, but I always explain it. I mean, I just say be funny. I mean, because it really does come down to that. Like, a lot of times, like, when I was first starting in comedy, I mean, I remember just all these people who, like, they were doing all this stuff to, like, put the cart before the horse sort of thing, where it was like they, you know, I remember a big thing when I first started in '97 was business cards. They're like, you got to have business cards printed up so you can give people, you know, your number that, you know, who asked for it to book you for a show or something. I'm like, can't I just write it down on something? Like, I mean, it's, I mean, I really need it. But, you know, at the time, it was like people were printing up business cards before they had an act, or they had, you know, they were, you know, they had anything worth booking. And it was like, I always was just like, look, I just want to be good at what I do, and then you know, and then let things happen from there. But so it really is, you know, really care and focus about, you know, the art, and you really have to love the art for what it is, and don't, I don't like the idea of I guess using it to as a means to another end or something, because, like, you know, I certainly, when I started out, I think I was like, you know, I'm going to be, you know, I'll be rich and famous or something like that. But, you know, soon that goes away, like, as far as that being something that you even think about, you know, or care about at first, because it's just like you just want to be good at what you do. You want to go up in front of those crowds and you know, have a really, you know, have a great set, have a great, you know, moment, and have those people, you know, because some people might only see you once in their life, and you want that one time to be a moment where they're like, you know, wow, that guy was, he was legit, you know, he was that was a good comic, you know. And so I think caring and crafting the art form is the most important thing you can do, and that comes with anything. Now, the entertainment industry, I mean, I would just be wary of the suits. There's a lot of scoundrels who are well dressed in this business. So it's like, you know, you just have to be cautious of that, you know, like, because they come around and they're like personal managers. They're always the ones who make you feel important early on, and, like, because, you know, you're basically nobody, and then this guy in a, you know, who's got a shirt with buttons, you know, makes you feel like you're somebody, and they're really not that important, but you think that they are. So it's like it's not that, you know, I don't know if you can really avoid it as a young guy or a young girl trying to do comedy, but it's something that, you know, you look back at and go, oh God, why did I get involved with that mess? And, you know, so I just say, just be cautious about who you, you know, jump into business with, because you're compromising and sacrificing your art to them, and it really is like, you know, it's like another child or something. You know, it really is that important to you, because it's you know, it's like your soul. So there's a lot of leeches in the business. Am I going on too long about this? I'm sorry, but
oh no,
yeah, I just think you know, care about the art, care about being really good at what you do, and then remember that art that you've taken so much time to and energy to, you know, to put into and to make better, and it's really important to you. Make sure you remember that when you start to get involved with whoever is in the business world who wants to, you know, quote unquote, help you. So yeah.
That's so true. That is so true. John, I want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for all the advice you've given. Once again, your career is really still just starting. I don't hate to say just starting because you're not a rookie at this. You're doing big things, and there's way more for you to do, and I believe we will see way more of you. And, John, once again, I want to say thank you again for coming on the show. I really enjoyed it. Tell all your family, friends, associates once again, if you're watching right now worldwide, make sure you click that share button, the like button below. Make sure you click it so you make sure you don't miss no episodes of the Big Scoop with Coop. Also, make sure you follow John on social media. Check out his YouTube page. Check out everything he's doing. You got to keep up with him, everyone. Make sure you do it. John, once again, thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure, and I'd love to have you back on in the future.
I would love to come on. It's great talking to you. You are now my favorite Michael Cooper. The guy who played for the Lakers, he's now second. All right, you're my favorite Michael Cooper that I know. Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much, John. You have a great night. And until next time, people, on the Big Scoop with Coop.
You know what time it is. Time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper.